All right, good evening. And tonight's the show will be dedicated to, first thing, my name is Julius Cephas. I'm president of Local 1694-1, the Port of Wilmington. I have two good guests tonight, but tonight's show will be dedicated to two people, Dr. Martin Luther King and Miss Mae Jarman, who was a great person, and they're celebrating Dr. King's birthday tomorrow, and I believe they're doing something for Miss Mae Jarman, who was my girl, who best dressed person I know, you know. So I definitely want to dedicate the show to Miss Jarman and Dr. Martin Luther King. And tonight I have two guests, and I'll let them introduce themselves. But tonight's show is going to be about business and black business. And one of the things I want to bring some information to our community, because of unemployment is so high. There's things that, and both of these young men here has businesses that we can start doing better and hiring more people from our community and servicing not just the black community, servicing the whole community, you know, the whole state, whatever ethnic background you are. And so that's what tonight's show is going to be about, is to try to bring you some information about business. How can you start your business? Where do you go to get started? And how we can stop this unemployment. And I believe once you stop unemployment, you will see a reduction in crime. But tonight, I'd like to introduce our guests, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
My name is Richard Dyton. I'm the owner of the Arc Learning Center and RL Construction.
All right, my name is Trippi Congo. I want to thank you, Julius, for inviting me to be a part of the show. I appreciate it.
Okay, and not only is Trippi's also Councilman, Trippi. Yeah. But again, like I said again, tonight is about black business. But I just want to give you all some, read a couple of things about, okay, excuse me. Okay, where are we now? And in 2014, the unemployment rate was 6.9 in Delaware. For African Americans, it was much higher. It was almost 30%. And for Hispanics, Asians, and Caucasians, it was much lower. And I want to ask, how can we make things better? And I'll start with you, and then I'll go down to Trippi.
How can we make things better?
As far as, yeah.
As far as business?
I mean, as far as business.
I think we must start training younger people to understand the concept of business.
Mm-hmm.
In our community, a lot of times people are taught, educational-wise, they're taught that you can become a teacher, or you could become a doctor, you could become a dentist, but they don't have the mindset that they could own a hospital, or they could own their own dentist practice, or they could own their own law firm. You know, they just tell you could have a career, but you couldn't own a career. So now, I think one of the things I speak about, Julius, sometimes is how when little kids go to corner stores now, they never see no one of their persuasion working in corner stores. So in their mind, they never think that they can own a business, or that we even own businesses, unless, you know, the two businesses that black people will support black people with, I said that before, is hair salons and funeral homes. So we have a hairstylist here and a funeral director, but they're the two businesses. We're fortunate to be in lines of work in which we will always get the support from our community, but that's the only ones we have.
And Trippi, you next, and I want to talk about this guy, and I want to show a clip, but because Dr. Claude Anderson, he's saying that if we don't get it together, blacks going to be permanent underclass citizens in this country. And after you give your comment, I want Ivan to go to the two clips to show what we're talking about. What's your point of view, Trippi?
Yeah, I think that.
Sorry, Councilman.
Just not Trippi. I think this, as a whole, we just have to do a better job. Those who quote unquote make it, of you know, staying in the neighborhood, at least going back to the neighborhood and being mentors to those children who are in the positions where they maybe once were, and not disappearing. And like she was saying, just being that face so that that child can relate. Because a lot of times, like she said, all they see is other ethnic groups owning businesses and being successful. But if those of us who make it, who are fortunate enough to own businesses or be successful in any type of job, just go back and be mentors and be seen.
Okay. Hey, Ivan, before we go to this clip, also most people who I know who are successful in business, a lot of them started out selling newspapers, selling candy with their grandmother, they learned hands-on, and sometimes we do better hands-on. But Ivan, can you go to these these 2 clips so the community can see it? Then we're gonna come back after Ivan show these clips.
And disenfranchised, and this is what has happened to black people in America. There's a reason why black people have been economically undermined, because it's very easy to control poor people. When people are poor, you can do whatever you want to them, and they won't have the economic power to fight back. They won't have the economic power to put a politician into power to help them out. They won't have the economic base to really take care of their basic needs, so then you can control them any way you want to.
See, white folk lend us money. They don't pay us because they know that they're going to get it right back.
1866 and up to about into the 1920s, black folk had the greatest economic achievement they've ever had in this country. Even though it didn't occur under integration, it occurred under segregation. Those black folk had managed to acquire over 20 million acres of land, according to the United States Census in 1920. 20 million acres of land. But between 1920s and 1950s, they lost almost all of it. Back in the 1920s up to 1940s, we had black broom factories, we had black mattress factories. Almost every black major city had at least 2 cab companies. We had black bus companies, we had black shipyard up here in Baltimore. When I say black bus lines, I'm not talking about just having 3 or 4 buses. We had over 500 buses. And this is in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And our bus company didn't just service just the black neighborhoods, it serviced the blacks and the white neighborhoods. We had 2 black cab companies. We had the Harris Cab Companies and the Campbell City Cab Companies. But they used to have their own restaurants, they had the best nightclubs in the country. The blacks had 2 baseball leagues. Each baseball league had 8 teams. We had over 500 of the best baseball players in the world. But what did they do? They wanted to integrate. So as soon as they put Jackie Robinson on the Brooklyn Dodgers, black folks said, we'll give up all of our black baseball leagues, black teams, and all our black players, and we can just get 1 black boy to play on a white team.
Black Americans were gung-ho about integration because we thought that would be our passport to freedom. We equated integration with freedom.
That scared whites to death. And see, at that time you had whites, a lot of these white separate communities. You had white Polish communities, you had white Jewish communities, you had white Italian communities, you had white Irish communities. And white folks said, well, we're not going to if these blacks are going to integrate, we're going to come together and organize as a unit. And so white folk then dropped all their little communities and said, no, we're going to organize as a one white block. We're not going to talk about I'm being Polish and you're Irish and German anymore. We ain't going to do that anymore. We're going to stick together as a group. We're not going to let all these blacks come and penetrate us.
Because we were doing things and becoming self-sufficient, that became a threat. So instead of them just coming out and attacking, because they couldn't just come out with an all-out attack, we were a little bit too strong for that.
Okay, again, what we're trying to show, again, that we had black businesses, we had blacks doing better. Not only were they doing good in our community, we've served every community. And you know, and Trippi, you know, and you got a lot of good black businesses who serve everybody, but it needs to be more. So go ahead, you got something to say?
Yeah. If you look back at the history of Wilmington, right? If you look at it back in the 60s, most blacks lived on the east side of Wilmington, right? There were all kinds of black businesses. We've lost that. There were black shoe shops, black dry cleaners, black tailor shops, black doctors lived on the east side, black doctor's office. So the same thing they're talking about, we had here in Wilmington. And a lot of our leaders that are in position now remember those days when Wilmington was filled with a lot of black businesses. All up and down Vanderbilt Avenue, there were tons of black businesses. When you go on Vanderbilt Avenue now, there's one black business on there, right? And there's a Jamaican black business, I guess. If they consider themselves black, a Jamaican liquor store and my business are the only 2 businesses that are on Vanderbilt Avenue, the whole corridor, which at one point in time, that whole corridor was filled with black businesses. Every liquor store, every corner store was a black business. So the same thing on the east side of Wilmington. Everything over there was black businesses. So we have allowed our communities to get rid of the black businesses, and now we're saying that we need to bring them back. So we have to stop supporting these businesses or make them support us so that we can get better results.
Now, go ahead, Trippi.
Yeah, I think we just have to make like a real concerted effort to support each other. Every other group does it. And I think that sometimes we get caught up in almost being apologetic about this whole conversation.
Right.
And that doesn't need to be, because everybody does it except us. So we don't have to apologize. We're not saying that we're racist or prejudiced. We're just trying to do as people normally do. We need to support each other. And it's ironic because we always encourage our children to, to be doctors and lawyers and Indian chiefs, but how many of us really have a black doctor or a black dentist or a black lawyer or support black businesses? So we have to make an effort just to support black businesses no matter what, and don't make excuses about where it is, how far away it is, or that their food doesn't taste right, or then it's not going to be done right. We have a tendency almost to minimize like a black business that we hear of.
I got a better word,
and almost minimize like the quality that we should expect, or the quality that they're going to produce.
Right.
Or if it's like a white or an Asian business, we automatically think that it's superior. We have to kind of get that out of our minds.
Yeah. You know what? Like last night, me and my wife, we went out for anniversary. We went and got went to an Italian restaurant, and it's Little Italy. Little Italy has restaurants, it has banks, it has schools, it has hospitals, it has everything in this short little 8-9 blocks. You have the Asian, you have every group except us.
Right.
We go up Philly to Chinatown. We go up Philly to the Italian market. But where do we go for the things that our culture has? And again, like you said, it's almost apologetic. Well, and what can we do to change this? As far as one of the things I think we should do is teach our kids younger, because no matter how good, if your service is good and your food's good, or wherever business you have is good, everybody's going to come and support it, because everybody wants the best. But how do we change this?
I think it has to be almost like on an individual basis. Like the three of us have to make a real effort to say, okay, this month or this week I'm going to support this black business, and this black business, and I'm going to tell my friends about it, and I'm going to bring my friends with me to this black business, and not get caught up in always going to the Phoebes and to the Lone Stars and to the malls, and not get caught up in that, and just say, for this month, me and my family, we're going to support black businesses at least once a week, and go from there.
Okay.
All right. I try to support all of the black businesses, the restaurants, once a month. If everybody in our community ate at all of the black restaurants we can name once a month, it would be enough for that business to not only stay open, but strive, and succeed, and be able to hire more people once a month. Once a month, you eat breakfast at down Evolves or Jerry Dean's, or once a month you go down Brown Bag, or not Brown Bag, but Robert Brown's place. Once a month you go by Evelyn's, just once a month.
Yep.
People eat out all the time. We go to McDonald's at least 5, 6 times, 7, 8, 9 times a month. Either taking our kids or something. So once a month, support these businesses.
Yeah. Morgan's on
and what people don't understand is, I'm quite sure with all three of us, people always call in looking for jobs. This could also change the unemployment, because now if we start supporting local businesses, we can hire each other's children. We can hire a whole lot of kids, and again, I believe that would drop the unemployment down big time.
Another thing I think that we have to stop doing too is I know that everyone is struggling. Not everybody, but a lot of people are struggling. But we have to stop going to black businesses looking for discounts, because we don't do that when the latest iPhone comes out, when the latest clothing item comes out. We don't do that. We save up money and we go get it.
Right.
But when it comes to a black business, we're quick to ask for a discount. And we have to do that because those black business owners work just as hard, and sometimes even harder, than those white or Asian business owners. And we have to respect that work ethic and the hard work they have done behind the scenes, and just pay full price, because it's going into our community.
Right.
Because we don't do that with other ethnic groups. We don't go to Red Lobster and ask for a discount.
Yeah.
But we might go to Jerry Dean's and ask, can I get, can I get something? Can I get something off? Or can I get a free order or something? You got to stop doing that.
And you know what's crazy? We'll go and nickel and dime and negotiate, drop their prices down, but we'll go to another establishment and give them a big tip.
Right.
And a lot of times, for the quality of service, it's not good. And a lot of people go to some of these other restaurants and these stores and get mistreated, but continue to go back. And they go to African American store. If you don't speak, they'll boycott you and never come back.
Right.
That's true. We have to stop being so hard on each other.
Right.
Because one thing could be out of place, and we'll say, well,
One time.
You just said one time, and that's it. No more changes. But we'll keep going back to the malls. We'll keep going back to all these different restaurant chains, time after time after time.
There's times you go to Kennedy's, there's gonna be times where the chicken is good, and there's gonna be times where you're like, man, this chicken was terrible. But if you go to the black establishment, oh, I went there one time and I had a lump in my grits. I ain't been back there. I've literally heard that about places. Like, you just try to come up with the smallest thing to try to tear it down.
Let me give you guys, from Dr. Claude Anderson said that the Jewish community, the turnaround, the dollar in the Jewish community stays 18 times. In the Asian community is 12, Hispanic is 10, and the black community is 0. And what that means is this, that when they go in the community, it bounces around to their area in their community. With us, soon we get it, we spend it. Nothing stays in our community.
Right. We spend it.
Well, none of the businesses in our community in which we spend our dollar are owned by us, right? So all of our corner stores and all of our all of our corner stores and stuff are owned by other people. So every dollar we do get, when we go to the laundromat, it's an Asian-owned laundromat. When we go to the store to get a sandwich, it's an Asian-owned. And we go get a bottle of liquor or a bottle of beer, it's Indian-owned. Everything in our community are owned by other people besides us. So if we want to spend our own dollar with us, it's hard to find somewhere to spend the black dollar unless it's at a barbershop or a detail shop
And we know how to do it because, again, the businesses thrive in our community, our barbershops, beauty shops, and our funeral homes. And we have the talent to do other things. Like you say, I was talking to Larry, who deals with Waltz. I wanted him to come by to give him enough notice. We love fried chicken, but we don't have we don't own a farm, and we don't have a distributor. We don't have a retail person. We don't have a lot of things that we could be hiring people from our community to have jobs, but we're more consumers than.
Yeah, we're not going to get back to that video. We're not going to get back to that day overnight.
Right.
But I just think that we have to, like I said, individually just make an effort to say, this week, this month, I'm gonna support a black business every week, whether it's a restaurant, a clothing store. There's a gentleman who owns a phone store right on Lancaster Avenue. There are plenty of black businesses. We just have to spread the word about them.
I say not necessarily boycott, but I think collectively over the next year we should all, as a black community, say one day we're not going to spend nothing in some of these stores. In all these stores in our community, we're not going to spend a dollar. Take one day, and let's not spend a dollar in all of our corner stores that are not black owned. One day, and see the impact that it has, because these same people don't contribute anything back to us. If we go to them and say, hey, we got a little league basketball team, can we get a sponsorship, or can we get a couple, something to help out this little team, this little chess team we have, or whatever? Few and far between will they say, okay, I'll write you a little $100 check or $75 check. I'm not talking about big money. I'm talking about small contributions toward communities in which they eat off of every single day.
I'll give you a good example. In Miami, they got a little town called Little Havana Town. They have restaurants, shops, doctors, offices. It's Cuban Americans. They built in 50 years, they built a strong Miami neighborhood. Businesses, everything, and they're politically powerful. And we need to start doing that ourselves.
Right. And Wilmington is small enough that we can do that.
There you go.
We can do that same thing.
And my thing is this, if the service is right and you're being treated right, support it.
And if it's not, you have to be, I think it's a two-way street. If something is wrong, you have to be their friend and say, hey, look, maybe you could do this better. And if you are a black business owner, you have to be humble enough to say, to be able to accept that constructive criticism, to want to get better. But don't just cut us off. Don't.
I mean, to me, this goes back to that ancient saying that people say, right? And sometimes it's sad to say, but some black folks still think the white man's ice is colder.
Right. We were talking about that.
You think the white man's ice is colder. It's the same stuff. If we got to go to an attorney, I said this about attorneys. We have to. I got to go run and get this name brand white attorney if something happens to me. And it's disrespectful to the African American attorneys to say that they can't articulate the law as same as a white person. I mean, we're still fighting some of the long time stereotypes.
I looked on today online for Delaware, like we need a directory where we're black-owned businesses. So I looked online today. I seen 7 businesses that's on Delaware's Black Line, but 3 other businesses, they're advertising as African American, they're not African American. And I'm not gonna call no names out, but people can go online and see this. But
That's because they realize the money that we spend.
Right. No, you're right.
We spend more than anyone. We spend more from our community. We make the least, but we spend the most. We spend on malls and all that kind of stuff. We are the flyers. You know, we're walking down the street without a car, but our kid will have on $200 Jordans. We'll have a $1,500 pocketbook, but we're walking. Right? So we spend money on the things that don't necessarily make sense to us in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, and we must. I mean, again, we got to do better, and we got to want better for ourselves. And some things that we want, we're blaming other people for things that we should be doing for ourselves. And I don't understand it. And again, with the hair business, I mean, all 3 of us, you know, our days is gone, but.
You still holding on, Julius. You still holding on.
Okay. That's what it is. Hey, look.
Me and Trip let it go.
Hey, look. My real estate. I'm ready to come. I'm ready to come. Hey, look. And not bite you. I'm fighting it, though.
Yeah,
but
you're holding on like In Vogue, baby.
Yeah, I'm fighting it, though. But the thing, what I'm saying is that we spend a lot of money for weaves, this and that, but we should have a company. We should be partners up with people who, because it's billions of dollars in the hair business, but only thing we're doing is buying. And we need to stop buying and start owning or being a part of it. And not just, I mean, mechanics. We got a lot of vehicles. We need to start getting mechanic shops, fixing computers or fixing a lot of things that we have the talent to do.
Again, that's what I'm saying. We'll teach our kids, you can go to school to become a mechanic. Because there are plenty of black mechanics at white dealerships working. When you go there, BMW, it's black guys work there. It's black guys are working on these dealerships. But we have to teach our children that you can become a mechanic and own your own mechanic shop. Because a lot of people don't own businesses because in their mind they think it's hard. You know what? And it is hard. I mean, let's not minimize it. It is hard. If everyone could own a business, everyone probably would. But if you're cut out to be an entrepreneur, then that has to be kind of embedded into you young. That you can have this, you can own this business.
I know a guy was telling me he has a business and he went to the bank and borrowed $75,000, paid it back ahead of time, didn't miss nothing, took care of it, went back to get more capital, they cut him off. And again, so there's a part on also the business community and the bankers, and we need to be able to help people who that need our help,
right? And that's
need our support.
We have to realize that a lot of times we are mistreated, whether it's from the banks and from those major industries. So sometimes our establishments can't look as good as as a white establishment. Well, we have to realize that, and realize that the only way they're going to be able to look like to get better is from our money.
Right.
So we just can't say, well, I don't want to go here because this place over here at the mall looks better, and I feel I want to get my product from this place on Concord Pike. So I don't want to buy my product from this black-owned business because it's not as appealing. But you have to realize, where that comes from, and that a lot of times they're not able to get those kind of loans that those establishments can get, and the only way they're going to be able to improve is from our dollar.
Now let me ask another thing. If Ivan, you can come back. Another thing is that the trade, we need more training in the trade, vocational, and it don't cost nothing. And again, we need construction, electricians, welders, maintenance. I know at the port, I've been fighting to get more training so they can stop outsourcing. And when we was coming up, your uncles, your cousins, and them taught the trade. The trade used to be in every high school. And that way, even if you couldn't get a job, you would be able to go out there and work for yourself. And now people are going to college, but nobody's getting a trade. You know, you got anything to say? I know, because I know you got your own construction company.
Yeah, that's back to that old Woodson, the boys debates, right? We're talking about trade versus education. I'm all for trade. One of the reasons why our communities thrived back in those days, we're talking about early Wilmington, is because 90% of the people went to Howard. At Howard, you had to kind of take up some type of vocation. You took up auto mechanics, you took up something that allowed you to be able to, and many of those people who took those trades back then are still doing stuff in those fields today. But it allowed you to be able to go out, like you said, and feed yourself. Right. No one's gonna ask you what your background's like if their car's broke down on the side of the road and you can pull up and fix their car. Mm-hmm. No one's gonna ask you what your criminal background check is like, you know, if they don't have no heat, like next to today or tomorrow, and you come over there and fix their heater. So if you have a trade, you have a way to eat for a lifetime, right? So to giving a man a fish, you teach him to eat for a lifetime. So I'm in agreement that especially that all young black males should take a trade, whether you use it or not. You should go learn a trade, whether it's plumbing, like you said, all the ones you can name, plumbing, electrical, roofing, siding, auto mechanics, cooking. It's tons of trades. Everyone should learn one. Even if you don't use it, you should have it to fall back on.
Right. And again, everybody's house needs something done. Everybody's car needs something done, you know. And we need to start teaching much earlier. And Ivy, can you go to a commercial real quick? Then we'll come back, because one more question, then we're gonna start taking some phone calls.
Okay.
Folks stripped themselves of all their resources. They stripped themselves of their unity. They stripped themselves of the role model when all blacks used to live together. Then they had their own role models. All the doctors and lawyers and teachers with the black lived all together. You had a sense of community. You knew each other. You trusted each other. You worked with each other. You participated with each other. You learned how to buy from each other, to sell each other, to support each other, to care about each other, to love each other. When black folk up into integration, blacks never locked their homes.
We practice a very profound humanity. If an Asian opened a store in our community,
Okay, again, we're gonna start taking some phone calls. Ivy, if you could put the number up. But again, good service is good service. And the business is making it everybody. Like I said, you go Waltz, you got every race. You go to a lot of good places. What's the new place over there? The post house, the old post house.
No. Jerry Dean's.
It's everybody's in there, and the food is excellent. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we got to understand that when our service is good, everybody will support us. Yeah. Everybody will support us when the service is good. And I mean, I go to a couple times a week. The food is good. And we must start.
But again, so I can go there one time and find something wrong with something one time. Oh, I went there, the tea wasn't sweet. I mean, I swear, I mean, I've heard it. I've heard it when I brought them onto my TV show. You hear some people in the community say, I went there one time, I didn't like it. Okay, but how many times did you go to Denny's and you didn't like something? How many times did you go to McDonald's and your fries was cold? How many times did you go to Burger King and something wasn't right? Mm-hmm. So you have to continue to support them.
Yeah, hello, you on the air.
Yes, good evening to you, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I was just listening to your show, and my granddaughter is working for a dentist. She's a dental assistant. But I encouraged her to go back to school to be a dental hygienist, and one day she can open her own practice. We do have to encourage these kids, these children, and I also agree that taking trades, we need to encourage them to take trades. That is also very important. Hey, you all have a blessed evening.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you.
It would be good too, Julius, if people who are watching, who own a business that we may not know of in Wilmington or in the county, if they can call in just to kind of give themselves a shout out.
And also too, Senator McDowell has a weed program where Del Tech, you can go to
weed program?
Not. See, I shouldn't have had that.
I
think it's a seed weed program where you can go to school.
I was like, where you sign up? No.
You can go to school for free after coming out of high school, and they'll take a pay for it.
That started with the last governor that was in.
Yeah, that's Senator McDowell's bill. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Julius. This is Linda Jokeman. How are you?
How you doing? I'm getting clowned, but okay. How you doing?
I'm good. Us blacks, we have to learn how to respect and love one another and to stop envying each other. And know that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can be and do anything you want to be.
That's so true. Okay, anything else?
Just that we need to learn how to support one another and realize that anything we see our people doing, we should be encouraged to improve our lives.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if we do go to a black-owned establishment and something isn't right, just have a conversation with them and just say, hey, you know, I want you to be successful, and this is how I think you could be a little better. And on the other end, be able to accept that.
Hello, you on the air? Hello, you on the air? All right, call back. You know, and I agree, but I think, again, we need to start training kids earlier, teaching them, make games out of it where they can sell this, do different things, because whatever they learn early stays with them.
And that's true, but then we have to, I mean, I think that there are plenty of people out there with skill who are doing things like she said. You can go to the BMW dealer, and the whole shop might be full of black mechanics.
Right.
When they could maybe pool their resources together and open up their own shop, open up their own thing, and not work for BMW.
Hello, you on the air? I'm sorry, you're right. Hello, you on the air?
Hello. How would we find out these black businesses, where they are?
Go ahead.
How can we find out where the black businesses are?
They have a directory, black business directory for Delaware, and you can go online and look it up. Or if somebody, and Trippi was just talking about that, but it's on. You can go online and look it up, and maybe the next show, or we can come back and have it posted on this show or on Trippi's show.
There's a website called DelawareBlack.com.
There's a website called DelawareBlack.com.
There are several black-owned businesses who advertise on there.
But
that's something that we need to take advantage of. There should be more businesses advertising on his. It's a young guy named Leonard Young. He owns that website. It's called DelawareBlack.com.
Okay. Okay, did you hear him? Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. And this is good stuff, because, again, I see, especially, I'm a trade guy, I'm a union guy, and the trade, I see these kids coming out of school with these trades, coming out of port doing different stuff. These kids are making $40 an hour with no college debt.
Wow.
Hello, you on the air?
Hi, I was wondering if some of the black business owners could perhaps get together and have a workshop that could help these young children and inspire them to become owners, and just give them the positives and the negatives of things that they could do in owning a business. Because, again, I'm sure it's not easy. So, you know, anything that's not easy, people seem to quit. So just to give them, like I said, some positives and negatives and just ideas, and just to put it out there for them.
Thank you so much, and that's so good. And maybe, like I said, Trippi's on every week, and maybe he can take some of this and do a show and move it forward.
I'm on every week too, Julius.
I'm sorry, Chi's on every week too, and same thing.
I'm just playing.
All right, thank you. No, but
that's an excellent idea.
No, we should. That's an excellent idea to do some workshops.
I mean, because and we can stop the unemployment. We can stop the crime. I mean, we need to step up again, and we need to assist to help people who are trying, because I get calls all the time. Can you help my son or my daughter get a job? I know y'all do the same thing. And so these are things that we should be able to take advantage of.
And so it's important that that business owners realize that everybody isn't always ready.
Right.
To be in a certain position. But it's important for us to realize that we have to help those people to get ready. We just can't discount them and say, they whatever we might think that they're not fulfilling our expectation. We have to help them to be better, and not just say we're not going to hire them or give them a chance.
Hello, you on the air? Wait a minute a second. Hello, you on the air? All right, try back.
To feed off of what Trippi was saying, right? One thing I looked at the history of Pierre DuPont, right? Said all these schools up in Delaware back in the day, all the PS1s or whatever, all those schools, because he said, look, I'm gonna have a lot of these black folks working for me at my business, and I want them to be educated.
Right.
So he go to all these schools and educated the people who was
Hold
gonna
on.
work for him. So we need to educate the people who are potentially going to work for us. As Trippi was saying, we got to train them, bring people in, and work with them to get them to where they need to be, as opposed to saying, you're not qualified, you don't have the skill set. Then it's our responsibility to get them qualified and to qualify them.
Right. Hello, go ahead. Go ahead. You got a question?
Yes. I like to ask, sometimes people don't have computers. How can is there any other way?
Ma'am, in this day and age, ma'am, computers are one thing, but just about everyone has a smartphone. So I mean, just about every. I mean, you can get a smartphone from social services. They give you smartphones now. I mean, everybody in the world, 8, 9-year-old kids have iPhones or cell phones. So if somebody doesn't have a computer, typically it's because they don't want one. Because most people can get a computer or a phone that has services on it you can go in there and find.
Or they can go to the library.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
A computer costs like $200 nowadays. Every little kid has a pair of Jordans. Everybody has a new Jordans. You can get a basic used computer that can get internet. You can get cheap or free internet from Comcast for a couple $100. It's one of those things like you know, every woman, not every, but a lot of women who can't who don't have the resources to have things that we say are important.
Hold on for a second.
$400 worth of hair in their head.
You're right. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. You on the air? You got a question?
Well, I do have a question, but I do have one statement. It's not always easy to just get a computer. You know, people are not working, so yeah, they can go to the library, but you know, everybody don't have a smartphone, so that's a bad assumption too. Even older people, that's a bad assumption that everybody can get a computer or everybody has a cell phone. But my next thing is, you know, I heard you talk about, you know, the culinary school, and you know, you talk about people wanting to do better. But if these people are not working, even trying to get your record expunged, they say it's 3 years, but then you got a whole year process, and then they want you to pay extra money. These are people who are not working, depending on other people to help them. So, you know, having to pay for your record, you know, per page and all that other kind of stuff, that's just ridiculous. And then you have people, you know, you got to have a connection to get your record expunged quicker. You know, you got to wait a whole year where you already been unemployed for 2 years. So, and then, you know, you got to get referrals to go to culinary school, and it got to be through the Department of Labor, or you got to pay $5,800. So, you know, if we're given information, we got to give the details so that people are clear on what's happening, because when they do that, they end up being frustrated because, well, oh, I heard on Trippi's show that I could go to culinary school. Well, you got to get a referral through the Department of Labor or some other agency, or you got to be, you know, you got to apply for financial aid. So, you know, you give good information. Let's just give the details so people are not further frustrated. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's a very good point.
It is.
And that's one of the reasons why, again, that we got to take responsibility and start helping each other more, so we don't have to go through all the changes. Because in life, to me, there's 2 sets of rules. There's rules for regular people, and there's rules for people who know people. So, I mean, but everything you said is, you're 100% accurate.
Yeah,
you know,
that is something that needs to be addressed. I don't want to get too far off the subject, but I guess we have to realize that everybody doesn't want us to be successful. So I think there are barriers set in place, like that, the whole expungement process. It can be extremely frustrating. I have people coming up to me almost weekly, you know, wanting to get their record expunged, but the process is so long and it's so costly that a lot of times, like she was saying, they give up. Yeah. And we have to address those. We have to address that, as you know, politically.
I agree with you politically.
Right.
Hello, you on the air?
How you doing?
How you doing?
No disrespect to the previous caller, but I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of excuse making. You have to put in time and be patient to get what you want. And a lot of, you know what I'm saying, you can't just expect everything to be handed to you. If you're hungry enough, you'll find access to a computer. You'll find access to a smartphone. If you can buy $100 sneakers or do whatever else, then you can do it. You know, it's just, I mean, a lot of excuses. And this is the problem, man. You got to put in the work. I seen T out there. I seen his have guys strip a house down, gut the house down, and put the stuff in there. They're putting in work. It takes time. Maybe one day they can own a property. Like that's what they're starting from the bottom and they're working their way up to the top. You can't just say, oh, I need a smartphone and all this. Come on, man. That's what's wrong with people these days, man. You got to put the work in.
Okay.
So you can't just sit back. Nobody's going to hand something to you. They didn't do it for my grandparents. They didn't do it for my parents. They didn't do it for me. So they're not going to do it for you. You just sit there, oh, give me something. Come on, man. Everybody's calling and complaining. Put the work in.
Okay.
Go for education.
All right. Thank you. I mean, I think both of them both callers make a valid point. And one thing that I've always said is that you can only save those who want to be saved. And you know, but both of y'all make a valid point. One of the problems is it's not enough jobs and stuff. That's why we got to start getting more involved. What I mean when I say we, our community, and we got to start creating businesses and start hiring more from our community. And when we have the talent, we just have to learn what we need to do with certain things we need to do. But no, I agree with both of the callers.
I mean, I understand the young lady's frustration. I do, but I understand if you have a record, you have something that you've been through, and typically it's something that you put yourself in a situation and you got to work hard to get out of it. Right. I mean, if you really want to do it, you're going to do it. Everybody has been through some stuff, and it's like at this point, everyone has a microwave in the house, and somebody will call in and be like, "Well, I know somebody who doesn't have a microwave," but I mean, everybody has a flat screen TV. I mean, it's not, and it's not like these are normal things now. It's not like this is a luxury. A computer is really not a luxury. A smartphone is really not a luxury no more. You can get one for $60 with a $20 a month plan at any of those little stores, you know, like the little phone stores on Market Street. I mean, and I said that most people we see are on Facebook, Instagram. 95% of the people, I would say, who are adults have cell phones, and if they want one.
Well, they have access to.
Yeah, hello, you on the air?
Hello, I'm not being disrespectful or nothing. But you, just like the gentleman said, you have some will and some won't. But you got to be realistic about the whole process that, you know, everybody is not just being lazy. Some people do. I know people, I work with people in the community every day, all day. And these people have been, you know, just going at it. And some of the stuff is realistic that you got to know somebody to do certain things. It doesn't make everybody lazy. All these people unemployed out here.
Hello?
Hello? Something happened. Okay. She's making, like I said again, a valid point. But one of the reasons why we doing this show is because if we can get people who know how to fix things, and he might can hire 4 other people who know how to fix things. If he started a business, he might can hire 10 or 12 people. So that's part of putting people together who got the skills can help people get jobs, you know, but no. Hello, you on the air? Hello, you on the air?
Hello?
Hello, you on the air?
Hi, my name's Gail Combs.
How you doing, Gail? Got a question?
Fine. Yes, and kind of a statement.
Okay. I'm waiting for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know, I have worked in business. I've worked for corporate business, and I have worked for myself. And the one thing first is you can see the front of the business working, but it's the back room, it's the paperwork, it's the money trail. Because when you're starting a business, it's money. And you have to know everything that goes on in that business that requires you spending money. So they need to be trained in how to run a business, and I wish you guys would get together and form a group and have a meeting. And I'm retired. I volunteer.
That's good.
But, you know, you need to know what's working and what's not working.
Okay.
And if the business is good and you're keeping trails of the finances, then it works. But I've seen a lot of businesses do good, and I've seen a lot of them fail. And I've worked for a couple of beauty salons in Wilmington and did their book work. So I'm willing to volunteer my time.
Okay, we definitely going to, I got to hang up the phone, take some more calls, but we definitely going to follow up on this, and we're going to try to see what we can do, because our community is hurting, and we need to do something. We got to do something. But thank you so much.
It almost needs to be a part.
You're welcome.
It needs to be a part of our formula, like the education system, on how to run a business and how to save and how to invest. But we're not taught that. I mean, we need to be taught that from first grade on.
Yeah, anyone who wants to own a business, though, you can go to the Small Development Center of Delaware, SBDC, I think it is, and they will give you the basic principles of running a business. First, you have to have an idea. You got to come up with a business plan. A business plan. During the business plan, it tells you what you're going to do, what's your product, how do you plan to do it, who do you plan to market it to, what's the pros, what's the cons. This is free.
But
Small Business Development Center is free.
But let me ask you a question, because I've seen this happen. And it happened to my wife. A lot of these people say, we'll pay you $10,000, but you'll get them, they'll take your $10,000 plan, they'll make millions of dollars off of it. So you got to be very careful when you go and give your plan to somebody.
No, you don't give them your plan. They help you come up with a plan. People have to understand how to write a business plan.
No, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, and I've seen this, you just got to be careful with that, because people would take what you have and you'll look. The only thing different is their name is on it and yours is off of it. But I like Trippi's idea too, is to train the kids earlier, far as in first grade and second grade, because kids is like sponges. The sooner you train them, the better you train them. I think better things, you can get more things done. But let me say this too, because I'm going to go back to both of you gentlemen. Henrietta Johnson Center over there, that was started from one person with an idea in a house over South Bridge, one person, and look at it today. And people can make a big difference. One person can make a difference. Chief, look what you're doing. You're doing great things. And you went through your...
I give all the credit to God, though, for allowing me to do it. So I don't want to take too much credit for it.
Well, what I'm saying is that, again, one person can make a difference, and you're helping so many kids, and you're educating them early. And again, we got to start. We got to start things sooner. You know what I mean? We got to start, and we got a lot of people. We just need more.
Man, but there are people out there who have ideas,
right?
And who have great business ideas, but have no way of knowing how to start. So I just gave them a simple place where you can go to.
Okay, I got you.
And when I first wanted to do my first business, I went there. Me and the lady are very good friends to this day. She's now on the board of First Day Community Loan Fund, who will give you money to start the business.
Okay.
But she helped me write my first business plan. I was 28 years old, so it was like 20 years ago, on how to do it and how to come up with plans to go to a bank to try to get some money, because no matter what business idea you have, you're going to need some money. You can be the best mechanic in the world, but if you have no tools and you have no garage with heat, it's going to be difficult for you to have a successful business, because you can't work on cars outside in the wintertime.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
No,
stuff
I
like
got
that.
you.
So it's going to take some stuff. So for those of us who are already geared to be entrepreneurs, who are, I'm saying, at adult level or young teenage level, you still got to learn how to write a business plan.
Right.
We do got to teach our kids just about business, but not all of our kids are going to be entrepreneurs. It was entrepreneurs, 5%, 2% of the total population are entrepreneurs, 1%. I don't know what the percentage is, so somebody could Google that for me right quick and tell me. But not everyone's going to own their own business.
Right.
But those who want to own their own business should be able to.
Right. I just want, okay, go ahead, Trippi. I want you to say something, then I'm going to close up. But I want our...
I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I just think that we heard from a lot of good people. We heard a lot of good ideas. We talked about a lot of ideas ourselves, but we just have to make an individual effort to support each other. At the end of the day, we have to say, my family and I are going to go to this clothing store, to this restaurant, to this establishment at least one time a week, or at least one time a month. Just try it for the next couple of months and see the difference that it can make. If everyone listening to this station can do that and share that idea and just make an effort and not make any excuses about why we're not going to go back to that business or support that black business, but go to that business and support them. Not only the restaurants, not only the funeral homes, not only the salons, but there are black businesses in the city and in the county that we can support. We have to find them, because if we want to find them, we can. We find anything we want. We need, find them and support them for the next month.
Okay. Okay. He's telling me to wrap it up, but thank you everybody again, and celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's dream and his idea, and volunteer, and let's reach back and grab somebody and pull them up, and to help our community, because we are in bad shape. Again, thank you and good night.